it feels like the last couple months where I've finally been able to play this game, like I'm fulfilling a literal childhood dream. It's so weird to say that, but it's true.
Hey guys, what's up? Basic Guardian here, and we are on a new episodic thing I'm going to try out called Voices of Vana'diel. I want to show that no matter where we are in the world, that we're all one big community here in Vana'diel, and my first guest on the show is going to be I Am Ahab, a recent returning player, Brendan Hesse on Twitter, Total Chad. Not Total Chad. Totally awesome dude. Part-time journalist, part-time game developer, full-time awesome bro. How's it going, Brandon? What's up, man?
Oh, it's going really well. I'm really excited to be here. Actually, I didn't realize until just now that I was the first one. So, hey, hello.
You are the first one. I do have a couple more lined up, but those are top
honored.
secret.
I'm honored to kick this off. This is fun.
Well, hey, man, you are a totally legit bro out there in the world of Twitter verification and game development and journalism. I mean, come on, don't sell yourself short.
Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate the kind words. It does feel quite exciting to be sitting here with the Basic, however.
Oh, my Lord. Come on, man. Let's be real here. Your one video about Final Fantasy 11 has something like 70,000 views. I got baby numbers. I think
it might be creeping up past 77,000, but yeah.
Oh my God! You see what I'm saying here? You over here talking about me? I should be following in your footsteps. What are the secrets? How do I make a good thumbnail?
Man, I don't know. Got to retrace my steps because I'd like my other videos to do about as well too. Or maybe I don't. I don't know.
Nah, I think you do great, man. You're a great presenter. You got a good style, and you got obviously good taste in games. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
So obviously here we are in Dragon's area with our Fly studio audience.
Yeah.
I gotta give full credit to you, man. You came up with that bit.
Well, I was just riffing off you, you know.
Oh my God, the Flive studio audience, should it be a pun?
Yeah, the Flive, yeah, the Flive, yeah. There you go.
The Flive studio audience. So, in your video talking about Final Fantasy 11 and what it was like playing it in 2021, you gave some thanks to people, thanks to me, thanks to Work to Game or Ginger Prime, I think he goes as, and then
Hunting for Games.
But that caught me off guard. I didn't know how to take that, so thank you for that. It means a lot.
Oh yeah, the mutual accolades just flowing here. But honestly, like your series was a big reason as to why I came back to the game. So I should be thanking you for making it.
Well, it's no problem, man. I've talked about this like in maybe one of my videos before. I don't know. I've got a terrible memory, but. I really didn't plan on this becoming like a series for people to watch, like my New Game Plus. It was literally me thinking, well, I'm probably only going to play this game fresh one more time, and then I'm going to hang up the belt unless they make like Final Fantasy 11 Part 2 or something. I'm just going to record it, and then when I'm, in like 2 years when I'm retired and 90 years old, I can look back to the glory days of when the game was good and all that stuff. But all of a sudden, people started watching them and wanting more of them, and I was like, "Oh, well, if you guys want to watch an idiot roam around and smack worms in the face, okay, I don't mind, man." So it was kind of a fluke. I didn't expect anybody to watch, but you know what? I'm super thankful for all of my viewers because they inspire me to want to like keep putting stuff out there and actually try to make it entertaining. But the reality is, I'm not trained. I'm not a great entertainer, so I'm trying my best, everybody.
Well, look at you now. Now you're hosting the Vana'diel's #1 talk show.
No, other people do this. The thing is, almost in every case, whenever I've seen anybody like kind of doing a talk show thing about Final Fantasy, it's only like kind of one angle of it. It's like, oh, what are the new fights we're doing? We're doing Odyssey now, and let's just talk about Odyssey and whatever. And that's cool. All the respect to everybody who keeps up the modern day endgame, but Final Fantasy 11 has been around for 19 years now. It's got so much stuff to do, and people are at all different levels, like yourself. You just got restarted recently, and it's got to be kind of a culture shock. You got 19 years of game to catch up on. How does that feel? What is the new player experience like in 2021?
Well, it's surprisingly smooth. Would be the word I would use. I know a lot of people have this idea of Final Fantasy 11 as being this impenetrable, just old school MMO, and that's true. It is that when it wants to be, but they've changed so much compared to what it was when I first started playing. I think I tried it in 2007 and then again in 2010 to varying degrees of success. And even though I always felt like I played this game, I didn't really truly play it until this year. And I would say that. I kind of mentioned this in that video we talked about, but like anyone with a passing interest in Final Fantasy, like in general, and especially if they like MMOs or Final Fantasy 14, I think they owe it to themselves to try this out because it's really not. It still holds up. It's got its quirks and it's got its anachronisms, but it's a good game. I've played more Final Fantasy 14 than I played Final Fantasy 11, and yet I still don't feel like I've truly ever clicked with Final Fantasy 14. And I'm not gonna say it's a bad game or talk down on it. I think people like it for legitimate, obvious reasons, and it has a really cool community. I like Yoshi P and the development team. They really seem passionate about it. Yeah. But there's just something about the way that 11 is designed that I click with way more.
Well, I could totally relate to that. And I think a lot of people will try to say that that's like, oh, it's a grinder mentality. This game is meant to for hardcore players or whatever. And that might have been true back in 2000, the 2005 era. I don't know when that era ended. Whenever Abyssia came out is probably when that came to an end. But no, Abyssia was the grindiest expansion ever. What the hell am I talking about? I don't know when it shifted, but now it's gotten into way more casualification of stuff. It's like, oh, all those time gates are done. Oh, you can use trusts now. Like, there's all these friendly things that they provide to new players that they didn't really have before, does that make it feel better as a returning player? Because for me, I think it really did, but it kind of felt weird. It's like, oh, this killed real parties and stuff, until recently when I found out, oh wait, you can still actually do real parties. You just have to actually talk to people.
Right. I think it's nice. It was nice in the moment for me, for sure, to say, hey, I want to go back to Final Fantasy 11. I want to see parts of this game I never did. And so I appreciated that. Like it was a huge relief of like, okay, you know what? I actually can do this. I can start getting I can get my artifact armor. I can see the level cap even. I can see all these storylines and zones that I always dreamed of seeing when I was a teenager trying to play it in high school. And I just didn't have the time to commit to it back then. But I will say that even in the limited capacity that I did play it, there was a partying in the Valkyrie Dunes is so burned into my memory, and I spent so much time there in those few months that I did play it back then. And I've had nothing like that, with some small exceptions here and there of like partying with people. Shout out to Regulus, who seems to show up every now and then in the same areas. Cool guy. But other than that, like, yeah, I get it when I hear people be like, yeah, it was different back then, because I kind of remember some of that, but when it comes to just spur of the moment, knee jerk, I heard the Selbina music, and now I feel this sudden urge to go play this game again. It worked out for me.
You just mentioned your first like party in the dunes. What was that experience like? How did you hear about like what the dunes were? Do you remember that? Do you remember when you first learned that you needed to wander out to some desert you had never heard of if you wanted to keep playing the game?
Yeah, it was a while ago, but I remember. It's funny, like I have these weird, singular, vivid memories. Even though I don't remember much of that time, there are a few that I do, and one of them is being in Saruta. No, I'm sorry. I'm now blanking on the Sandoria starting zone.
Western Ronflower?
Thank you. Yes, Western Ronflower.
I thought you played this game now, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a giant fraud.
A giant shill. It's almost like you've been playing other games and not Final Fantasy 11.
Look, the commenters on that video were right. I'm here to admit it first. No. So I was in Western Ronflower, just mashing some worm faces in, and I was a monk. I was a monk, and someone was like, "Hey, you shouldn't be here." I was like level 13, and I was trying so hard to like eke out as much experience. Like, you gotta go to the desert. Here, I'll take you there. And so we wandered all the way through the Lathine Plateau, and I saw the
ram.
The ram, yes, the ram, all that stuff, and the cavern or the ravines, I should say, in the landscape, and thinking like, oh my god, like what's down there? There's so much to explore. What's over here? But we just beelined it right for the dunes, and then when I zoned into the dunes, it was the first time I'd seen anything that wasn't grasslands, at least on that character. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. What are we going to go do? What am I supposed to do? And he took me all the way to Selbina, and then was basically like, here's how you join a party. Here's how you do XYZ. I joined a party after that, and I remember, some of the leveling stuff, but it wasn't until I started leveling Warrior as my sub job where I really remember being out there and people being like, hey, you're a Warrior, go pull. I was like, what? I don't know what that is. I don't know how to pull a thing. So I also, that was another vivid memory of just being like, I guess I'm going to go attack this crab. And people were like, hey, where are your macros? Why aren't you doing this? So it was definitely a learning experience. And in weird ways, I kind of wish that there was some of that was still in this game, but it's a lot easier now.
So what year was this again? Thereabouts.
So the year that I finally made it to the Valkyrie Dunes was probably 2009, I believe.
2009. So the game had been out in the U.S. about 5-ish years at that point. So people were probably a little bit less patient. I'm trying to think what expansion was that. Probably Wings of the Goddess around that time.
Yes, it was. I think it was. No, you know what? I'm wrong. It was a little bit before that because it was right in between Ottergon and Wings of the Goddess. So that must have been 2007, actually.
Okay.
2008. So that was when I was. Yeah, that was when I was trying to play again.
So it was established like what people should do and whatever. Because you see, I started in 2004 on PS2, and I'll never forget seeing that big white box at our local Walmart. And I was like, when did they make an 11th Final Fantasy? What in the hell? Why does it come in such a big box? And I brought it home, and I was like, oh, you need internet for this? Well, I technically have a 56K connection. It's more like 20K, but let's go. It took literally like 30 hours to download the game the first time. It was bonkers.
I was gonna say, my dad worked for at first for a cable company and then for a cell phone company, so we always had really good connections. And I remember I would start the installation for the game or like updating for the game on purpose, like at 8 or 9 the night before, and then I would be able to play the next day because of how long it took to download those updates.
That's wild, man. Those updates were ridiculous. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's just because the servers are in Japan or why it takes so long, but yeah,
Must have been, yeah.
They have like the slowest packet speed ever. But you were playing in 2008, 2009 ish, and so things were established. I remember in like 2005, we didn't know what the hell was going on, most of us US players, because the whole concept of things like, the holy trinity of healer, tank, damage dealers, or DPS, I guess is the other way of calling it. It was sort of established in EverQuest or whatever, but not everybody had played EverQuest. Most of the people I knew who had played Final Fantasy XI had only picked it up because it was a Final Fantasy game,
Right, yeah.
And things like World of Warcraft weren't even out. So there was plenty of, warrior white mages and white mage / warriors out there. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But over time, we got yelled at enough by various people where it's like, pulling. That means to grab a monster and pull it back to the party. I can do that. Yeah, I'll grab a bow and arrow, I guess, and that type of thing. So back in those days, did you find a niche that you really liked? Did you have a job that you were aiming to get to? Because you said you were playing Monk, right?
Yeah. If we back up even further, I played for like a month in, I think it was 2005, 2006. I got it. I got Final Fantasy XI as a Christmas present from my brother, and I'd been enamored with Final Fantasy XI as a concept since it was first announced by Square Enix. And it's funny because I wasn't a huge Final Fantasy fan, but I loved Final Fantasy Tactics, and I loved the idea of being able to create a character using a lot of those jobs and then like the idea that, okay, I'm going to join other people and we're going to be a party of people going on a Final Fantasy adventure. It was such a cool idea. And so when I started playing, I made a Galka, and I had this idea in my head that I was going to be a Dark Knight. And then I started, I got to level 13, and I was like, I'm going to go explore the world. And I couldn't explore the world. And then I quit. And then it was a few years later, came back. And when I started the monk, I started it because I wanted a class that I hadn't tried before, and that was still like a melee offensive class. So I went with a monk. And I enjoyed it a lot. I found it to be, a fun class to play. And then I did a monk thief and monk warrior. I can't remember what ultimately I was sticking with. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be a Dark Knight. And I did I did the quest for the Dark Knight, and getting, that unlocked was really cool. I just was daunted. The idea of leveling up another class to 30 or whatever, again, was a little bit daunting to me, so I just went and switched back to monk and stuck with that until I had to get some Kazam keys and quit over that. But yeah, Dark Knight, and people might not even realize this, but that's what my class is now. For some reason, I've just been enamored with the Dark Knight, and ever since then, that's been the thing that I wanted to do in this game. I'm going to be a Dark Knight.
Is it because you're like low-key a super emo, edgy boy who...
I wouldn't say emo. I had a really death metal phase in college, and I still appreciate that kind of music. I got more into I guess we'd say like hardcore punk and stuff as I got older.
Thank you.
In fact, I'm wearing a grindcore t-shirt right now of a grindcore band called Full of Hell, with a really scary, etchy logo, and the sleeves are cut off. So you know what? What am I saying? I am absolutely a total dark edgelord.
Edgelord,
and I just should embrace it. Yeah, I might have a shelf full of Nintendo amiibo behind me, all cute and stuff, but yeah.
Let's be real. Almost every edgelord has a shelf full of Nintendo amiibo somewhere.
Right. And it's funny though, because I think also I liked that class in other Final Fantasy games was also a thing. I thought that Kain and Cecil, and so Dark Knight and Dragoon were always my two favorites because I like Kain and Cecil from Final Fantasy IV. So that also was a huge thing. And Dragoon has now become kind of, you might have noticed before we started the call, I had a Dragoon icon from Final Fantasy Tactics. I really love just cool armor. I was into Zelda and stuff when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
And I had friends, so I was a Nintendo 64 was my first console.
Okay.
And I guess technically a Game Boy, but all my friends had PlayStations and stuff.
Right.
And they would always talk about Final Fantasy and Chrono Cross and all this stuff, and I thought those games sounded so cool. So the first Final Fantasy I ever played was Final Fantasy VIII. I thought it was cool, it was whatever, but it wasn't until I was a little bit older and I discovered, there's all these other games. Yeah, of course, it's Final Fantasy VIII. What are these other ones about? And I was just totally enamored with the art for them, the Amano art, and I got into emulation, and I was like, I don't know how as a 12-year-old kid I was getting into emulation, but
because Google.
Yeah, that's how I played those games. Yeah, right. Or whatever it was at the time, Google or Yahoo or whatever.
Yeah, probably Yahoo search or Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, probably. And so that was I got into those games. And then it was just it was 2 years later that they announced Final Fantasy XI. So I was in the height of this, I just want to play all these games. I want to be all these cool knights and, with this awesome armor, giant swords. And I want to go on an adventure with all my friends that we can do this together. That's so cool. So yeah, I totally feel that. It was just totally the right absolute moment for me. I remember watching the trailer for it just on repeat on my dad's computer over and over and over again, and just thinking about how, you know what else I did? I printed out a bunch of, I got a Magic the Gathering card editor program. And I started just based off of screenshots and the information that was out about the game at the time. I created a whole card game based on Final Fantasy XI where your cards could level up. You collected equipment and fought monsters. There was a whole thing. Long story short, I made my own card game 20 years later. But I was totally enamored with this game. So it feels like, I know I'm bouncing around a lot here, but like it feels like the last couple months where I've finally been able to play this game, like I'm fulfilling a literal childhood dream. It's so weird to say that, but it's true.
Well, no, I get it, man. I just like to think that you, as some 12-year-old kid bouncing between these GeoCities and Angel Fire sites, learning about modding and emulation, and where most people would be like, I don't know, like playing baseball or whatever you're expected to do as a kid in America when you're 12. You're like, I want to be a game developer. I want to be a game designer, and instead of printing out fake Black Lotuses, I'm gonna make my own card game. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what I did. And I would go outside with my brother, and I would be like, okay, so we're gonna go on an adventure today, because we were lucky enough to live in a pretty we were in Portland, Oregon area, but and there's a lot of forests and stuff, but we were right by a pretty big river. Not like we had a big house or anything, but we were by a lot of big houses that were right by the river.
Right.
So we would go out and we'd do stuff. And I remember making up rules like, okay, we have to, if we're going to fight an enemy, we have to do it this way. And then that means that we get this much experience. And after we fight this many enemies, we can level up. And then I'll tell you what ability you learn, and I'll learn a different. I would do that stuff in the summers. So yeah, this was like, Final Fantasy 11 was like, oh, I don't have to make up the rules. Someone else did the rules for me, and I get a,
bro, you just brought back so many repressed memories for me. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you just triggered all sorts of memories about my childhood. I should probably just talk about this in their own video about being raised by JRPGs.
I would love to hear about it. I mean, here's the thing though, is like that's what. I mean, just Final Fantasy in general, and video games to a greater extent. But really something about, I think, Final Fantasy 11 for me is like there is like this level to this game that goes beyond the game, if that makes sense. And it really just, it can really dig itself into your mind. And even in that time where it was years before I played it, and then it was years before I played it again. But that whole time, I would tell people about like, I think Final Fantasy 11 might be the best MMO ever made, even though I barely played it. And because it's just like none of the other ones I've ever played has stuck with me this way. And I get that it's not for everyone, and I would never want every video game to be like this, but there is something that I really appreciate about a game that's like, here's the risk. Here are your stakes. You might lose experience. You might lose an item, or that's why I like roguelikes and Dark Souls and games like that. I really gravitate towards games where there's a lot of stakes. And the irony, of course, is that nowadays Final Fantasy 11 doesn't have those stakes necessarily.
Where's the thief? I don't think there's anybody back there.
Right.
But there's still that the design of the world is still there to where you can see it. Like, oh yeah, like, on our way here, I'm quite a few levels below you. Oh, not just quite a few. I'm a lot much lower than you. And so, if I had been going through here alone, I would have been, just pummeled. And that's cool. I like, other people would hear that and be like, I don't know, man. But to me, I'm like, I don't know. Like, make me prepare. Make me think about things. I'm playing a game to be engaged with it, not to just look at the cute scenery or anything.
Well, actually, I think that is something to say, tying back to the new player experience. We didn't touch on it too much. I mean, we talked a lot about it, but I do appreciate what they've done with the game now, where there is no fast pass. There is no buy this boost. Right. There is none of that. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have to level up, and yes, it's faster now, and yes, it's there's home point warping and all of this stuff now where it's all so much more convenient. But at the end of the day, they still make you go out there and like, well, you better go earn your XP. Yeah, you can do it with trust now, but you got to earn it, and you got to go to places and find monsters that are gonna give you XP and not be too tough and not too easy. And then you got to like start doing your limit break quests, and it's like you literally still have to do those. And it's like, okay, so I have to go to these places and collect these items. Oh my God, I didn't know I signed up for all this. But for each one of those investment points, you're like, wow, I'm building this guy up, and it isn't as simple as like, well, like, do I want to buy the boost or not? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Or even just like go here and talk to this guy. Like, there is a sense of ownership over everything you do in this game. And I know a lot of veterans would say it was better back in the day. And you know what? Yeah, probably it definitely was.
Yeah.
absolutely. But think about like, you know, I'm just saying. I just mean like that sense of ownership. You know, you really felt like you earned it. I would hope so.
But, you did. I don't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, you definitely did feel a bigger sense of ownership back then. But
yeah, but like still, like the fact that Final Fantasy XI makes me feel like I have more ownership over my character than a game like Final Fantasy XIV, where, yeah, okay, there's a meta to Final Fantasy XI, obviously, but you know, during the leveling up phase, you can do it on your own. So you're kind of free to just be like, I don't know, make your character the way you want to, I guess. And if you don't care about the end game, then you really don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Whereas Final Fantasy XIV, you don't have a choice. Your Dragoon is going to be like everyone else's Dragoon. Your best in slot is the same as everyone else's. Your skills, your rotations, your everything. It's the same. And you know, the not to get too much into like game design jargon, but that's kind of the thing about Final Fantasy XI that I like so much is there's a horizontal progression where you can do a lot of different things all at once, whereas Final Fantasy XIV is like there's just one way through and everyone's taking the same way through. So
yeah, that's actually something I found shocking about Final Fantasy XIV, because you just keep playing and they just keep giving you new armor every time you go up in levels, and you just keep playing and they keep giving you new weapons. Oh, and you have to use this ability after this ability, otherwise they don't combo. So if you don't do it that way, you're actually not even effective. Like it's literally ineffective if you don't do it the way they want you to. It's like, what the hell is this? Is it training wheels? Before everyone who likes 14 roasts me, I understand. And once you get to like ultimate rating, it's so absolute, you know, tooth and nail, fight to the death, watch out the positionals, everyone needs to have best in slot, everything, or whatever. I get it. It takes a lot of skill to play that game, like actual skill, like Dark Souls type of like quick reaction type stuff. And that's something that Final Fantasy XI definitely doesn't have, but it was designed with that in mind, because they're like, well, we're going to make worldwide servers, and there's going to be a ton of ping. So we're going to just do the auto attack thing and make all of your abilities latent, or like always have like a 2-second delay from when you hit them to when they go and whatever, which now can feel a little sluggish. It's definitely not snappy by any means, but it was designed with that in mind. And when you get used to it, you're like, oh yeah, this feels right.
Yeah. Well, and I prefer the strategy that is potential. There's a potential for a lot more strategy in Final Fantasy XI than Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV is like, hit your rotations perfectly if you want to get through this, whereas 11's like, all right guys, what are we doing? What skill chain am I doing? How am I opening? Who's hitting next? Who's gonna burst? You know,
what jobs are available? What skill chains do we have? What weapons do you have available? Like there's literally dozens of X factors, especially depending on what jobs you bring. Like if you're bringing a warrior, it's like, well, what weapon do you want me to use?
Right.
Great axe is technically my best weapon, but I also have an axe and a sword with me, and this sword in isolation does more damage. But if we get a level 2 or a level 4 skill chain going, it's going to do way more. It's like there's so many X factors. You can handle things a ton of different ways, which actually segues into something I kind of wanted to talk about. How do you feel about the state of the end game and how it feels for people when you watch other people's videos? Because there's lots of other creators who, like Next Games makes ambuscade guides, and Romoko makes like job leveling guides. As a newer returning player, when you see the daunting task, if you wanted to take a character up to end game, how does that make you feel? Do you feel intimidated by that, or did you just go, you know what, that's beyond anything I even want to do, and fuck it, I'm just gonna play how I want to play?
So I mean, the honest answer is it's mostly the latter option. It's mostly fuck it, I'm gonna play how I want to play, and that's, you know, that's just the way it is. But I would be lying if I didn't say I spent several hours watching Rua's guides when I first started getting back into it and figuring out what class do I want to even play as. You know, I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time reading up about Rune Fencer because it was something I never knew about, and I played that. I think I'm almost level 60 on Rune Fencer now too.
Wow.
You know, just to try it out. I wanted to, you know, get a feel for a lot of different jobs because I had not done so much when I first played. So, you know, those guides and the idea of the end game, it's daunting when you're just like diving right in, but that would be the case for anything. You know, I'm a huge Monster Hunter nerd. I love that game. I love that series. The number of systems in that series for a new player are daunting. So if you're trying to learn about, you know, what's the best the best switch axe, and how should I be slotting my gems for fighting Nergigante, Arch Tempered, whatever. That would be daunting for anyone. So I think that's just like, when you want to play a game at a high skill and you're just getting started out, if you go straight to the deep end, it's gonna be a lot. But yeah, ultimately, I just decided that the reason I wanted to play this game again was to see. It's so simple, just to see the zones I didn't see before, and to get cool armor, as cool as I could get, and reasonably on my own, and hear more of the music that I like, and just see more of the worlds, because that's really what drew me in the first time. And if that means that I'm not doing ambuscade and I'm not, getting the best gear, and that's fine. I that's not really why I'm playing this game. And I think that's one of the strengths of Final Fantasy XI, is that even today, like it's a game you don't have to play just for the end game. And I think that when I think of WoW and when I think of Final Fantasy XIV, even, I know it's like such a story heavy game, but to me, it's just like, it's all just a rush to the end game. And that's what it feels like, at least. So, and I don't feel that when I play this. Like, I don't feel like when I log in that I have a list of chores that I have to complete. I feel like, hey, what do you want to do? What do I want to go do? Am I going to go do my artifact armor, or am I going to work on my rank, my nation rank quests? Am I going to do more Rhapsodies of Vana'diel? Am I just going to go grind out a few levels? Like, because there's no checklist in front of me, I feel a lot more freedom to do what I want to do and to make my own path through the game for as long as I play it. And so, yeah, that's why, the end game is a potential thing that I may touch when I get to that point. But for now, I'm just enjoying my journey.
That's awesome, man. I'm a big advocate. This might be your first video watching my channel. And if it is, welcome, hello. But something I've always advocated through all my videos is games are meant to be fun and engaging and meant to be a good time. And it should be about the journey and your experience, with the game. And while everybody might follow similar paths in Final Fantasy XI or 14 or whatever, I do feel that Final Fantasy XI does have such a nebulous nature to it, because it was made before quest markers were a big thing. It was made before, oh, you want to know where the next quest is? Here's the map of the area that you need to go do the thing. And they're like, they'll say some real weird stuff like, yep, we're sure having a problem with bats. It's like, what does that mean? And you look it up at the wiki, it's like, oh, okay, I've got to go to Garledge Citadel? Where the hell is that? And Garledge Citadel's not even marked on your map. And it's like, okay, this game, just take your time. Just when you want to take on that bat quest, you can, but you don't have to anytime soon. And I will say it's both a strength and kind of a downside, because of its complete lack of any true guidance. It's like, well, now what do I do? And that can feel overwhelming. And it makes it a kind of a downside, where a second monitor or a phone or a tablet is kind of like a necessity to play certain things in this game. But the freedom of just knowing, you know what, I could just hop on today and I could spend my time just fishing if I wanted, or just looking for another home point crystal to click on, or enjoying the music of Selbina, whatever. Even though you could just download that on your phone or listen to it on YouTube or whatever, there's something about just sitting there and seeing the ship come in and whatever. You're like, yeah, this is better. It's so simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just something different about it. How do the kids say it? It just hits different.
It's different. Yeah,
it hits different. It hits different when you see somebody hopping off the boat. You know what I mean? So you had mentioned that the last time you had done a party was a million years ago. And the other day, I just put out the call. I said, hey, who wants to go level with a Beer-tastic? He's level 40, and I don't even remember where I'm supposed to be leveling right now. And we got a party together. We went out to Western El Tepe Desert and fought beetles. And it was the craziest thing. We had a paladin, a white mage, a red mage, so already a solid foundation to any party right there. Beer-tastic's there in his dragoon, and then we had a samurai and a beastmaster. And let me tell you, man, that was the most fun I've had in years, 10 years. We're all sitting there chatting. We got into the Discord where we're talking, and that's new for me. I'm not used to talking with people playing Final Fantasy XI in the old zones. I've done some modern day endgame in Discord, but it hits different when you're just literally we are in 2006 right now, boys. We're out in Western El Tepe Desert pulling beetles and talking.
I had a similar. So I haven't done a full party in the time that I've been playing it, but I have had. I think I might have mentioned it. If I didn't mention it on the recording, I would mention it while we were chatting beforehand. But I just keep running into this dude named Regalius or Regulus or something like that, and he and I must be working on like the same schedule. He like always shows up and like he'll be in like Garlage Citadel or forget what's the other one in the Eldine.
Eldium Necropolis.
Yes. Every time the last few times I've been there, he's there, and I like he'll be like, "Oh hey, what's up? You want to party again and go look for the chests and for the coffers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." And that sense of like just running into someone naturally just is so cool, and it does remind me of like when I was playing on my old character. His name was Ivan with 2 A's.
Oh wow!
That my monk. There was a guy that I kept running into in those early levels, and he like had a link shell with like 2 other people, and he invited me, and so it does remind you of those early days, being like, oh yeah, that's what this game is, and it still can be that if you pay attention and you communicate with people. I think you mentioned that before, like. It can still be that. It's still there, man. Like, well, you got to kind of find it.
That's the thing. And we talked about this a little bit before we actually got on the call, and I guess maybe we should have just been recording that whole conversation because, like, think about it. But you'd made this really great point about how we're all a big community. Why don't we act like a community? Like, when did that become taboo? When did it become taboo to just be like, you know what, being a casual player is okay. Not being focused on in-game is okay. Having questions is okay. Like I don't understand these people who are trying to like gatekeep and make the game seem like it's not fit for a casual or time limited player, because it's like, guys, everyone you try to scare off by acting like you have to be super hardcore is just one less subscriber, and every less subscriber you have is one less reason to keep the game online, and then you won't have a game to be hardcore in anymore. So how about we just start including people, man? Well, what's so wrong with that? We're in a small community. Why don't we act like it, man? You worded it far more eloquently. I'll just say that.
Well, yeah, but I would say too that like, I mean, you totally got you got the point across. Like I think what I said was, if you want it to be a community again, treat it like it's a community. Yeah. And if there was one thing that I hoped to do with that video I made about being a new player-ish in my case in 2021 was just like, is to prove that like, hey, like not only is it doable, but to prove to other people that, hey, like there's people who want to play this game, and we exist. Like the people who want to play this casually or just because we think the world's fun and we want to explore it, like we exist. We might not get it. We might not be helping you get your best in slot or whatever. We might not be there grinding out the high level fights that they're adding, but you know what, like we're here and we like the game maybe for different reasons, but we still like the same game. And if there was one thing that I would hope that my video did, was to make people feel more comfortable being openly casual with this game if that's what they want to do.
Really, at its core, it's a game you can enjoy all by yourself right now, but thanks to this link shell, it's opened my eyes that a lot of people just want to play on their own terms. And they might not even want any help. They just want to play the game and just have a good time. But and I don't mean this to be like some sort of weird plug for my link shell, but I am so thankful for those boys. I'm so thankful for that community, because there's literally like 20 people in there all day long at all different times, because there's people coming in from Europe. There's people from all over the United States. There's even someone from like 4 guys from New Zealand in there. So there's always somebody on at some point in time in the day, and everyone in there is super chill, super relaxed, and are willing to go do this stuff because they just want to do it. Like, do you guys want to go level up in Quiffum? Yeah, sounds fun. Let's do it. It might only be 2 or 3 guys, but they want to do it. And it's not even just for me. I've seen these guys doing this stuff on their own, like they're just going off to go have a fun adventure because they want to have a fun adventure. The game might be dead and not like it was in the old days and yada yada, but those people with that mindset are definitely still in the game. And I know I have a huge market on them right now in New Game Plus. And you just see all these people on things like Reddit and stuff saying like, yeah, the game was just too boring by myself. And I just can't help but think, it's like, have you ever tried like just talking to somebody or you know, like,
Right.
Just trying to get into a party with somebody, or if you see somebody in the same area as you, just saying hello, like, are you doing this mission? I'm on this mission. And maybe you make a friend. And once you have a few friends, maybe you start doing stuff together and getting gear together, like you and your friend Regulus. It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a completely solo experience. I'm glad that exists, but I'm starting to learn now that if you want it to be more, it very well can be. It's just about reaching out. And my link show taught me a lot about that. This new one that just formed because of the stupid Beertastic episodes. But I'm super thankful for those guys. They're all awesome, every one of them.
Yeah, and you know, I'm excited that my work's kind of changed a little bit, and I don't have stuff that I'm playing for my day job, because I write about video games and tech for my day job, which is fun, but it means that I don't have time to do stuff like, I'm going to play this 20-year-old MMO on the evenings. But that's kind of eased back for at least for now. So I'm excited to do more of that in the link shell and with you and the guys. And also just like knowing, even if I don't get as much time as I want, just knowing that there is a community of people who are like, yeah, dude, just pop in when you can. It's so refreshing, because like one of my biggest like blocks to any sort of online game, you know, at this day and age is like the time. And, you know, Final Fantasy XI does require a lot of time. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, you can get through this game. I mean, yes, you can level up very quickly and do a lot of stuff, but I don't know, man, like, it's nice to know that there are people out there that are like, yeah, this game's cool. Play it when you can. We'll be here waiting, show up whenever.
Right.
All good. There was a line I used in my video. I said that Final Fantasy XI is like a Final Fantasy simulator. And some people took that to mean that I thought it was Final Fantasy Sims, and I don't. I mean, like, it's like Flight Simulator, but Final Fantasy. And you get like, it means a lot of stuff is tough, but it means that you get all of that. You get to do all the cool stuff that you see your Final Fantasy characters do, which includes like going on adventures in dangerous parts of the world, meeting up with cool people. And what that really means is that you can just do whatever you want. If you don't want to do level 99 stuff, don't do it.
Yeah. That's ultimately what it really boils down to is you have an option to do so many things. And I think one of the best things this game has going for anybody on the journey from 1 to 99 is its story. And I know it's always one of those things where people are like, what if we don't care about the story? Well, then you're playing the wrong series of games. Let's just be frankly honest. like that's first and foremost of all Final Fantasy games has been their story. Sorry about that. There was a rather loud train, so if there was a big cut in the video, I figured you guys didn't want to hear. So we took a short minute break there to let old Bessie go by. But yeah, I was talking about how the story in Final Fantasy XI is like the best thing for any new player to go do, because as I just said, if you're not into story, you're playing the wrong series. If you're trying to play this to get into the end game, you're playing the wrong series, because there's this reality that I never really acknowledge to people, because I figure most people just coming back to the game will either figure it out by the time they get there or have quit before then because they got their nostalgia fix and they're good. But there is a reality. When you hit 99, as we have already sort of touched on, it's a wall, right? And you're going to have your first starting gear, but it's going to take you a couple weeks to get your next set of gear. And it's going to take a couple more weeks to get the next set of gear. And then once you have all that, then you can start working on maybe a weapon that's in the end game spectrum. And it's just... if you're doing it on your, I'm speaking if you're doing this all on your own, it's going to take literal months to over a year to get your character geared up to even get an invite to an endgame party. And that's the biggest kick in the dick. It's like, wow, I'm all the way here at the end game and I can't even get invited to the end game because my character's basically a starting character in end game terms, you know? Mm-hmm. So the one cool thing is with New Game Plus is, like I said, I do have some of these characters who are like at mythic level already. And just the other day, we took one of our buddies through who was wearing that starting gear. He's like, man, I just wish I had a lower perpetuation cost for my avatars. And we're like, oh, is that all? Challenge accepted, bro. Let's go get it done. And we took him from starting gear to having a viable endgame set in an afternoon. And when you know people, when you've got friends at the endgame level, you can circumvent that year of grind and get some decent stuff really fast. Like, it's definitely possible, but you have to have friends. And that's another thing that I adore about this link shell coming together, is for people who do want that gear and do want to, mess around with the end game a little bit, that option is available. You have a support system to like say, hey, we could help you bridge that gap. But it is real discouraging if you're doing it on your own, all by yourself, all the time. It will take you so long to level up, because it's just, there's so many things to get and so many things to chase. So but I figure most people just coming back to the game haven't even gotten close to that point yet, so no sense in being like, by the way, the game's a kick in the pants at 119. Sorry, don't mean to ruin the experience for anybody.
Yeah, it's funny because like that was definitely a reality that set in as I was reading the player, like the returning player and new player guides. It was like, okay, here's what I want to go do and see, and all of them were like, all right, we're gonna railroad you straight to 119, and here's how you grind. And I was a little bit disappointed at first when I was making the decision to come back. That I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be grinding for a while, and then the real game will start. But I quickly realized that like, no, the stuff that I like about the game happens from the get-go.
You realize that no, the game starts whenever you want it to start. If you're trying to be a grinder and trying to play endgame, it's not going to start till you reach 99, but it starts from day one. It starts from walking through those city gates of Sandoria or wherever you're from.
Yeah, and you get that Final Fantasy experience. Like there, something that I don't even hear. I had someone tell me once recently. We haven't like going back and forth in YouTube comments or something. They were like, Final Fantasy XI's story is one of the best. They were saying in the series. But there's an unspoken rule among Final Fantasy XI players that we don't talk about it. And I don't know if that's true or not, but so far I've been like, guys, like why aren't we talking about this? Because like some of the stuff in this is really good. Like a lot of the job quests that I've gone on, especially with like Zeed and I think that's how you say his name, Zeed Zide.
I always call him Zeed.
Zeed, yeah. And then the Dark Knight stuff, there's some really cool stuff that happens, and the lore of the Galka way of life and everything has been really fun to discover. And then there's Shantoto and her ridiculous harebrained schemes to do whatever she's trying to do, ultimate power, all that stuff. There's a lot there to discover that's just as compelling and and worth your time and worthwhile as any other Final Fantasy game. And I am a little bit disappointed that I can only think of like 2 people off the top of my head who have done YouTube videos about the story, whereas like Final Fantasy 14's got like there's just a cottage industry of people talking about the story in those games, and that's all anyone talks about in that game. Story is, and I just feel like I'm a little bit I'm disappointed. I feel like, guys, why didn't you tell me that the story in this game was so good? And maybe it's because it's not presented front and center like it is in 14. And I would understand if some people were like, well, I just didn't really pay attention because it wasn't what the game told me to pay attention to. But I don't know. I think it's great.
But if someone could do like a deep dive, like how Zeltic does for Zelda videos or something, like someone came and did that. This story is so awesome. And I appreciate people like Rua will try to do some of the lore stuff, or because God knows I don't want to have to do it because I'm the worst. But if someone who's really well spoken, preferably with a accent that's foreign to American audiences, because we always find those more engaging, just so you know.
Yeah.
Just the facts. If you got a slightly British or New Zealand accent, you're the best. That's just what we want to hear over here. Anyway, if one of those guys would make a video about the entire freaking story from each nation or whatever, I guarantee you they'd have like 100,000 views each, because the story is awesome and people want to remember them. But it's a lot,
All right, Rua. There you go. There's your challenge.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Maybe we just got to get Vati Vidya really into Final Fantasy XI, and he can do a whole lore deep dive like he does for the Dark Souls games. He'll just do it for this.
There we go. Are we just convince one of those Final Fantasy 14 story people just to come over for a week?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, sometimes the Final Fantasy 14 social media people will play this like once a month on stream. So if we can get them over here, we can get anybody.
There we go. Open challenge to every content creator who's good at their job. Please come talk about this story. It's freaking awesome.
please play Final Fantasy 11.
Wait, play through the whole story in a one shot and summarize it for us small brain people.
If you're equating it to Final Fantasy 11, you got to commit to it in ways that it's not possible, and it's okay that it's not possible for everyone. Right. It's funny though. One of the things that I like about backpacking and hiking or going out and foraging for mushrooms, like we talked about, I have a video about that on YouTube channel, but there's that sense of just exploration and adventure, and that's something that I like about games like Final Fantasy 11 with these big wide open zones and a lot of just like freedom to go where you want. Obviously there's objectives or whatever, but I get that same sense of exploration in a weird way. Like obviously, it's not the same as, you don't get the same benefits, as going hiking in nature, the same psychological and health benefits, but there's that same thing is there, and I think a lot of the games I gravitate towards have some aspect of that, or they, really what I'm saying is I'm just chasing the Iceland dragon, and Final Fantasy 11 is the closest thing I've been able to find.
I'm chasing the Iceland dragon. I love that equation right there. That's fantastic, man. I think Final Fantasy 11 does kind of actually equate to hiking in whatever is. You can have so much fun in this stuff, and it's really fun when it's like a communal experience, right? When you're like on the adventure with other people and stuff. But it can be done completely solo as well. Mm-hmm. But I think it's always better with people, and there are going to be some really tough times, especially with like the PCT, starting off in the damn desert, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And then you end up like as high as the elevation goes out in the West Coast, which is just nuts. And for anybody who doesn't hike or whatever, I'm sorry, you don't have a clue what the hell I'm talking about right now. But hiking and backpacking and getting out is something I'm also a huge advocate for. This summer, it's the middle of summer here in the United States, and if you haven't been outside after a year locked up last year, I'm just going to tell you that you're crazy and you need to get out there and do some stuff. Speaking of which, how is the Pacific Northwest doing, man? You guys all right? You're on on fire there for a few weeks. It was like 118 degrees.
It went from being Portland. The only places hotter was a few weeks ago. The only places hotter than us were like Dubai and like two places in sub-Saharan Africa that day. And we beat records for that day, that part of the year that like places in Arizona and Nevada have never even reached. So that was cool, I guess. And it was I've never been in 110 degrees, and then we were pushing almost. It was like 118 where I live. So that was, it was difficult. But now it's like 70s and it's mild, and that's not necessarily normal either. So it's just been a weird year. Unfortunately, the sky might not be on fire, but fire season's starting, and that heat wave really dried everything out. So it's starting a lot earlier. And last year was really, really devastating. Like, I mean, it looked like Doom Eternal outside, it was. I'll tell you what, if you ever find yourself in Portland, I'll have to take you to a lot of the neighborhood spots, because pretty much every restaurant and grocery store around me is like a Fubon or like a Vietnamese bakery or a sushi place. So there's a lot of that out here, and I grow some of my own vegetables. So yeah, I'm willing to share when you're out here.
See what I'm saying? I can't even have a garden. Damn you, Illinois. No, anyway. No, that's awesome, man. Totally hope that you and your loved ones get through the hellscape that may be coming your way.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, but I mean, isn't the Midwest also kind of going through like a weird? There was a heat spike and then it
there was
down?
It was like I don't know, 10 days straight of 100 plus temperatures, and then it went down to one night. It got down to like 41.
What?
It was like what in the world is this temperature right now? Are we flying away from the sun? Is this what happened? I don't know, man.
Sometimes it feels like it.
Do you have any current goals for this character? Anything that you're like looking at right now? Anything you got your sights on?
Yeah, I mean, look, I just really want my full set of artifact armor, so I'll probably be hopping in here over the next couple weeks, asking the link shelf for help to get those damn chests.
I hear it.
I want to do that. I really do want to take a character to 99. I just want, I at the very least 75, but 99, just to do all the stuff that 13-year-old Brendan wanted to do, and just never could. So, yeah, I mean, it's so simple, but it's that. And then once I do kind of get beyond those things, I'm interested in trying other classes, and I'm interested in playing the storylines, especially like everyone talks about how good Chains of Promethea are, or Promethea, or however you say it, is.
Yeah.
And so I want to try out more of that stuff. I've done the basic nation missions that I could so far, and then my job quests, but that's been it, and I want to see more of it.
Yeah, man. I will say that that is something from back in the day. That this is way back in the beginning of this like interview. You had mentioned how it's not as good as it was back in the day or whatever. And I went. I will say nowadays you can actually appreciate the game way more because you can do it on your own time and in your own whatever. It's there's so much about this game now where you just playing it how you want to play it and go do the stories and you want to go do your artifact or whatever. Back in the day, there was such a huge part of the community where it was like, you have to do this and you have to do that. And you're gonna level up your Dark Knight. Why are you getting your artifact? You could just get the whatever gloves up from this monster, or you could just do this.
Sure.
And it was there was so much of it where it was just like it was really It was more toxic then than it is now. And everyone always talks about how toxic a server is. Like I always challenge anybody, go look at Blue Garter Link Shell's forum posts between 2004 and 2010. If you want to see some toxicity or how people used to talk to each other, just someone will come in there being like, hey man, what would be a good setup for Paladin? And people will be like, all right, noob, get the fuck out of here. Go read the guide. All right? How about that? Why are you even trying to play Paladin? It's like, Jesus Christ.
You just reminded me of, so the Christmas that I got the game, I had started as a Galka warrior, and I was in Bastock, and there, you probably know, there's like a lighthouse structure somewhere in Gustaberg. And I was just searching around because I was trying to play this game like it was fucking Morrowind.
Right.
That was my mistake. But so I was just walking around like, oh, what am I gonna? And there's just two people just kind of like camped in like a lighthouse looking structure. I don't even know to this day why or what it was used for. People out there are probably screaming like it was for this NM. But I walked in there and these two players were just like, dude, get the fuck out. You can't be in here. Go away. And it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And I was like, all right, guys, Happy New Year. And I walked away and they're like, dude, don't be such a dick. What the fuck? Like, and they were really mad at me, but it was like, I haven't had any of that. And honestly, if anything, it seems like more people are just ignoring me. And I would rather be ignored than people like jumping down my throat because I walked into the wrong, part of a map. I'm sorry, but
yeah, that's definitely my thing. And that's what I always have to say about this game is it just feels so easygoing now, and it's definitely not in the end game community. And
sure.
And if I don't want to like toss shade at anybody.
Yeah, I get you. I wish that the content creation stuff and why I like your stuff so much. I wish there was more just chill Final Fantasy XI stuff.
And then the final question that I had relating to Final Fantasy at all, and this is more or less a short one. Do you have any favorite memories or any favorite things that have really just wet your whistle since you've been back? Anything that's just been like, you're so glad you came back and did it? It was the moment I stepped into, I believe, what's
gosh, now I'm forgetting it. What's the city for the Ottergon expansion? The first one.
Whitegate.
Whitegate. Thank you. Yeah,
I think it's just called Ottergon.
Okay. Well, so there was a moment when I finally unlocked the Ottergon zone because that was, I had only played, the OG stuff up, and barely any of that even. So it felt like I was like, oh my God, like I'm really doing it. I'm finally moving into, these other zones, and then I went and did like the stuff to unlock Rune Fencer, which I forget where that zone is. I know that was added in a later expansion. It's just really just been seeing more of the world, and every new zone I see, it makes me just be like, I'm so glad I did this. I'd never seen this before. This is awesome. And I've enjoyed pretty much every single one.
So if you had somebody who was on the fence about coming back to the game, what is something you would say for the game and something you would say against the game?
I would tell them that that most of their goals could probably easily be met by themselves. And then I would also tell them that, unfortunately, most of their goals can easily be met by themselves. I think it's equally, it's a pro and a con at the same time. Like, it depends on what they want. If they want that extremely tight-knit community again, then that will not be a great thing to hear. However, if they really just want to get their nostalgia fix and play the game in a casual way, then it is a good thing. So yeah, it's equally a pro and a con.
I can feel that. That is, unless of course they come to Asura and join the Link Shell, then they can have the awesome tight-knit community.
Exactly. What am I saying? Come and join the New Game Plus Link Shell.
To be fair, though, not to put you under the bus or anything, you have been really busy and haven't even been able to join until very recently. So
sure. Yeah.
By very recent, I mean like today. So
literally today.
So I totally get it. You haven't got to experience it much for yourself, but trust me, if you spend any time online, you're not going to be able to stop seeing the green text going across your screen. Because it feels like the old days, man. And people talking about just random stuff all the time,
I'm excited for that. And I'm looking forward to playing more. But that's what I was worried that this was going to be. I was like, there's going to be 50 people online and none of them are going to want to play with me. I was very pleased to see that it was the opposite. But it's so weird. Like, I don't know. I feel like we need more people making stuff about this game to tell people like, oh no, we're still playing it. And a lot of us are new and you should come play it too.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I wish there was a way. I need to come up with like the most clever, clickbaity 11 reasons you should play Final Fantasy 11 in 2021. Number 1, Ninja plays it too. Number 2. No, exactly. I'm kidding. Like, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I thought about, I really, I do want to make more Final Fantasy 11 content, and I'm interested in making it like that. It just has to be the right video. I really don't want to do like algorithm chasing. However, at the same time, I really think that more people should play this. So it is something that I plan to do more of.
I don't ever want to feel like I'm like forcing it on people, but really more people should give it a whirl because it ain't nearly as bad as people think it is. It's not dead. Just set your goals realistically and you can have as much fun as you want.
Yeah, I would say like if you're using me, I mean, if someone's watching this and they have never played this game before, first of all, hello, hi. Second, if you're using me as an example, don't. Like, I have way busy schedule and I just have no time to play it. But if you're if you're only playing Final Fantasy 11 and you're just playing like an hour or two here and there throughout the week, yeah, you can get to level 99 in like a month or so, probably.
Also, if you're using me as an example, right? Basic, this character, all of this amazing gear I've got, all of this super endgame hard to get gear, whatever. This took me like a year to grind out, like all of these ambuscade weapons and whatever. Like that was like a year of progress. But I can participate in the endgame now. But Beardtastic, my second character, the one that I do all of my New Game Plus stuff on, he is just taking it easy, man. He's playing as casual as possible, once a week. Maybe 3 hours, 4 hours at a time, and that's about it. And he's already up to level 55 in about like I would say 6 weeks I've been doing it. But that also shows you that if you're as casual as can be, 3 hours, 3 hours a week, you can get to level 55 in just 2 months or so, under that. So you can play it as casual as possible and still make more gains than you ever made back in the day. Like, I know a lot of people quit before they even got to level 50 after like 6 months of playing.
Yeah.
So somebody says they're coming out here and they want you to experience the Fafnir fight.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Now here's the final bit of this whole segment before we transition into fighting a dragon.
Okay.
So say goodbye to your Twitter checkmark. Say goodbye to any future journalism gigs, and basically good luck in the industry. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh, wow. So that's really a blindsided question. I am fine with people who put it on their pizza. That's the most diplomatic way as I can say it.
People of any gender can put pineapples on foodstuffs considered to be a pizza.
I will not infringe on anyone's right to put fruit on a pizza. Whether or not I partake is irrelevant.
Professional, high IQ level political sidestepping, sir. I appreciate it.
I had a girlfriend who used to she would only eat pineapple, pepperoni, and smoked Gouda on pizza, and it was the worst thing.
See, I'm neutral to pineapple. I'm not gonna ever ask for it, but if it's there, I only want one thing. I want a counterpoint. One of my best pizzas I've ever had. It has bacon. This is once upon a time I was engaged. Many years ago, like 10 years ago, I was engaged. Okay. So my ex-fiance, her favorite pizza was bacon with pineapple and jalapenos. No smoked Gouda. But between having the sweet and the pineapple, and fresh jalapenos, by the way, the pineapple and the heat from the fresh jalapenos and the bacon, there was salty, fatty, spicy, and all that, and it made pineapple not taste like pineapple. It felt more like, I don't know, like sometimes there's like pineapple on tacos. Like it was fine.
Okay, yeah.
But whenever I get handed just a slice of standard Hawaiian, it's like, no, thank you. It's almost the same principle, but I would rather not.
I don't know. Say if we're making that distinction, then I've had plenty of pineapple on pizza that I liked. I enjoyed. Not that even that I was fine with it, that I enjoyed. But if we're talking about like Hawaiian, like Canadian bacon and pineapple pizza, no, I'm not about that.
I don't know what it is. I just don't like. I know it's a classic, it's the staple, but I don't like ham and pineapples. It's just, to me, ham is a little too sweet, even though it's very salty. It's just like it's sweet, and then pineapples are sweet, and it's like this is. And tomatoes are technically sweet as well and acidic, and it's like this is a real sweet pizza we got going on here, boys. Yeah.
You're right. That someone out there is going to be mad that that answer, even I gave the most middle of the road one. Someone's going to come after me.
I told you.
Thanks for that.
Getting canceled, man. Sorry, I didn't.
What did I walk into?
I didn't mean to do it to you. I didn't mean to hit you like that. I know it was a low blow. Oh my God, here he comes. So how's it feel? We're about to fight Fafnir, something that you would have never done back in the day. This was one of the old H&Ms in the HTML link shell days.
I'm terrified. You took me from having like one party experience in the last however many years to fighting a dragon that I have no idea what I'm doing.
Don't worry, we've got it, man.
Good.
Got him, boys. I don't even know if you're going to be able to hit, but this is the perfect ending to this. Welcome back to Final Fantasy 11. Here's a dragon, bitch. But this is what I'm saying. He's wearing the pink shell right now because his personal friend shell, but Hark Home here is in our link shell, and he's just like, "Hey, man, you want to fight Fafnir again?" I was like, "Sure, bro." This is what I'm saying. Like the most random stuff happens in New Game Plus. It's fantastic. I've had it off for the purposes of interview, but I'm scared to see how busy it might be if I come back in. I don't know if you've been seeing it be too busy, but
it's it's pretty casual, just chatting about what people want to go do and run. No one suggested coming and killing Fafnir, though. I can say that with some
Some certainty.
confidence. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, man, you would have been an elite freaking group to get in here, and you certainly wouldn't have been here at level 60.
I feel honored. I feel like I've really just I've made so much progress in the last 3 hours.
Honestly, you might make some progress here. You might be able to get a piece of gear. There it is, Balmung, man. You just got yourself a new greatsword.
Wow. All right. Well, there we go. Where's the?
But while he's transferring, that was your first dragon fight. I realized it was just steamrolled, but
it was invigorating.
Different seeing a dragon in Final Fantasy XI. I don't think you've probably ever actually seen one fought in person yet.
Not like that. No, definitely not like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're welcome to take the Balmung, and if you want any of that other stuff as well, the Aquarian Abjuration, that's used to unlock some gear for mages. It wouldn't affect you any. You could use the Adbernauts. I don't know how well Guild Finder actually works, but you're welcome to take literally everything in the inventory, man.
All right, cool. I will. I gotta reorganize. There was a bunch of stuff that dropped, and I picked up on the mobs that we were going through before.
I got you, dude.
Yeah, that was cool though. That's awesome.
He's coming back again. We're gonna fight it again. There's one abjuration I hope you get. It'll be called Neptunal Abjuration Head. It drops a really awesome beret that you'll get to wear, and it's got a ton of strength and stuff on there. It's really good gear, man.
Nice. Okay, cool.
You like how this is devolved into somehow gearing up your Dark Knight real quick for no particular reason?
I mean, you know what? I am definitely into it. I do not mind at all. No.
One of these days, we'll actually have to take you from 0 to hero status and get you through some of your levels here. Oh my god!
I would love that. Yeah, I'm really like I mean it. I'm excited to join in on the weird ones.
Dude, you've said it best when you said, if you want this game to be a community, treat it like a community. That should be on the front of the book. That's the front page right there. It's like, why aren't people doing that? Why aren't people just doing stuff for each other and having a fun time with each other? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it's not that big of a deal either. Like, it's not that difficult. Like, just, I don't know, just be cool.
Yeah, man.
Be nice to people. Like, honestly, it's a thing that I don't get too into it, but like, it's a thing that I struggle with just in my personal life of like why just be nice to people, guys. Like, you don't have to be mean. And taking a career, a very public facing career that opens myself up to criticism. I've gained a bit of a thick skin when it comes to like comments towards me, but when it comes to like seeing other people treat each other shitty, I don't know. I don't have much tolerance for it. And
yeah, man.
That's one thing. Like this link shell, like when you started it, I was so stoked. I was, yes, this is exactly what I wanted for this game. This is gonna be so much fun. But and now I'm experiencing it by fighting a giant dragon.
And yeah, dude, it just being in these old zones and doing all this old stuff, it really just sparks all this nostalgia for me, but also like hopes for like where the game can be. Because if we're able to get this community going on here, just one random YouTuber making one random YouTube related link shell, and everyone I know here is really relaxed and awesome and fun, who knows what could happen if like more influential people actually did something,
Yeah, and I mean, even outside of like the game's performance, speaking personally, like I knew when I was making that video, I was like, this feels like it's going to be like kind of a fun thing, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it if they watch it. But I had no idea it was going to be so successful. But the thing is, like, getting to like hang out with you and do the link shell stuff and like just meeting people to play this game is the part that I like the best. It's not about the fact that I got like however many thousand views. It's like a bunch of people like hit me up in the game when I am able to log in, and now I'm part of the link shell, and that's the best part. It's so much fun.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's saying hi to you.
Yeah. I just totally was not even paying attention. Hello, hi. Yes, they are.
Oh my god, bro, we got a cup of sweet tea. Woo!
Should just take everything?
Yeah, have at it, bro.
All
Do you already have the hands abjuration? Because you don't need technically 2 of those.
Oh, okay. Then I will just pass on that.
There you go. But yeah, you could take Roddy. You can take. I mean, all this gear is going to be outdated eventually, anyways. But
sure.
If you were to level Paladin, Aegis Shelmer is one of your highest enmity pieces. It's the highest at that level. And Roddy is just a sweet looking sword. I mean, and you're almost to the level to use it anyways. So why not have it? Because it's sweet looking, and it was the hardest sword to get back in when this was relevant.
Yeah. I'll just have a rad sword. I love it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on the show, dude. It's been so awesome. You're my first guest, and I can't wait to get the next ones I have lined up. But it was great starting off with one of the guys that I truly respect, a game developer. Did you want to talk about the game you're making at all?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I am. I'm making an old school first-person dungeon crawler. Inspired pretty heavily by games that came out like in the PS1, Sega Saturn era. So it's like got that retro 3D look. Got more stuff that I will be showing in the very near future. Like, it's hard talking about a game because like it's so much more done than it looks like when you show it off, and then everything kind of comes together in the last bits. But yeah, it's games are hard to make. We'll just say that. But if you want to check that out, you can follow me on YouTube at it's youtube.com/thecrawl is my channel. And yeah, I also talk about other and just like game development stuff in general there. I've got a lot of videos that are currently in the works, so subscribe and check that out. And I also like professionally write about games and technology, and you can pretty much follow all of that over on Twitter. You just follow me at Brendan_LH.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, this guy has made some really great videos about like Breath of the Wild. Your stuff is critically underrated. You have higher production quality and thoughtfulness than I do. And seeing that 88% of my videos do better than yours is like, what in the world? This guy actually knows what the hell he's talking about. I'm just some idiot rambling in front of a microphone, This guy sounds like he knows how to use one of them there computers.
Well, I appreciate that.
I really liked what you had to say about Breath of the Wild, and I thought it was great when you're like, I can't go mushroom hunting in the real world, but I'm going mushroom hunting in the game, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. But you're a very good writer, and you're becoming a great friend. You're super easy to talk to, and I love the fact that you've got your how do you say it? You got a lot of dishes on the oven right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, professional writer talking about overseas MMOs for a not professional, but a upcoming game developer who's making a game about a series that, let's be real, 99% of the world's population gives two shits about, but because it's a passion project, you're like, I want to make it, and people will come who want this type of thing. What do they say? If you build it, they will come.
I hope that's true. We'll find out. And you know what? I do have one last plug. I do a weekly podcast with some other, writers and friends. It's called PNB. And so if you liked my rambling here, you can come listen to me over there. But, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I do way too much stuff, man. I do way too much stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I will, of course, put all the links and stuff right on screen so people see what the hell you're talking about. And they'll be in the comments below as well, obviously. We got some spiders, boys. Holy cow.
There we go.
That's great. But no, seriously, check out I Am Ahab stuff. Check out Brandon LH, Brendan Hesse. Dude, the one thing I really like about your game, from what I've seen so far, it's been very limited. I didn't play as much Wizardry or Draken or any of those games.
Yeah.
But I did play, as stupid as it is, I've played all those games, but I found them too hard and my brain too small to comprehend. But I played Mystical Ninja a lot, and there's actually a dungeon crawly section like that for Super Nintendo. Yeah. And the graphics took me straight back to that. I was like, wow, it looks like a 3D rendered environment. I'm very familiar with these. Because that was like how Ultima and them were, right? They all had interior semi-3D rooms like that.
Yeah, like they were like wireframe back in the day before they did like 3D environments. But as they... they became more like 3D environment, or they would just draw like the sprites, like flat images of hallways and whatnot. So, I don't know. I really like.
And then that style sort of hybrided off when they even like what should we call it? Elder Scrolls used that style. I mean, not directly like that. They made it free 3D movement, but like the dungeons all seem to be based on that kind of philosophy.
Totally. Yeah, like and like even Dark Souls and stuff. Like even though it's in third person, it's still that same, like difficult dungeon crawling. And honestly, something that I like about this game is like the dungeons in this game feel like dungeons. They're really cool.
Yeah, dude, for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to hear more about that when it comes out. I'm excited to see more of your future ventures. You've been a fantastic guest, dude. I really appreciate you coming out. And looking forward to playing the game more with you when you get a chance.
Yeah, same. It'll be fun. It'll be good.
So after this particular dragon, we're gonna get one more big boy, and we'll kill him and see if you can't get yourself a what they call a adamant hauberk. And
oh, you've talked about that one before.
Yeah, it's the blue body.
I've heard that one.
It was the most rare body in the game back in the day. Do you have any final messages for anybody at home?
No.
Well, we did talk for almost 2 hours, so I suppose you're about to spend. Oh my God!
What happened?
Dude, you just got the Adamant Hauberk, the most coveted piece in the 75 era.
I did it. I worked really hard for it.
Now we were just trying to get him in Aberk. One and done, bro. That's hilarious. Some people, I don't know if you realize this Ahab. Some people literally played like 10 years of the game trying to get this and quit before they ever got it.
Take that. No, I appreciate it. This is great. This is so awesome.
Are you planning on ever leveling up your monk? The Wormbeard is for your black belt.
Okay.
The Aquarian Abjuration body is the Dalmatica, the most highly sought after body for mages.
This is great. This is wild. Awesome.
This is so crazy. I can't believe this is how we're ending the broadcast, is you literally getting all of the best loot.
Oh man, now every guest you have on is going to be like, yeah, well, where are my cool loot?
Bro, if they want to get cool Nidhogg loot, they're welcome to come anytime.
There you go. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. But really, I help people out all the time, and the link shell getting all sorts of stuff. So whatever they want, it's totally fine. I'm really open. I don't play all the time. I have a little bit more time right now than I've had in the past. But really, it's my favorite thing to do, is share the love of Final Fantasy XI, both outside the game by making videos and stuff, but then also in the game. If people are having a good time and want to party, awesome. If they want help with some gear, awesome. I'm up for it, So I'd love to take you on a guided tour of Vana'diel and show you what it's all about.
That'd be fun.
Bro.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'd be more than happy to. We gotta get you through some of your stories first, so I'm sorry to take you away from Dragon Quest time, but you can do both. I believe in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just find a way to play 11 while you work, and
I'm sure I could figure out some sort of way to do that.
Get one of those talk to type machines, and and just dictate to it and hope that the articles turn out okay.
Yep.
So that's gonna be the end of this episode, guys. It was so great having I Am Ahab along. Thank you to Harcombe for joining us and doing some awesome Fafners and Nidhoggs right there at the end. Anybody else who's interested in joining in on one of these interviews for yourself, if you want to just blather on about Final Fantasy XI for 2 hours in a free form way, I'd be more than happy to have you guys on the Voices of Vana'diel. It's been a pleasure, sir. You were a fantastic guest. Thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to this.
I enjoyed it.
I know I'm not verified on Twitter like you, but
whatever.
I don't got that kind of big dick energy, but it's okay. It's okay.
It's not all it's cracked up to be. Trust me.
Just tell me this: who did you have to kill? Who did you steal that check mark from?
It was.
I totally get it. You are a published journalist. You deserve every bit of your accolades, sir.
Thank you.
As humble as you want to be, you do good work. Good luck with the rest of your podcasts and your own channel and your own videos. I'm sure at some point here you'll vastly eclipse mine because, unlike myself, you're actually talented, which is awesome. And I hope to have you on again at some point, maybe once you get through some of these upcoming adventures in a month or two, maybe?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, that'd be fantastic, man. Well, it will be good to touch base. And until then, boys, as you know, I'm Basic Guardian. I'll catch you in the next one. Toodaloo! You could have said Toodaloo too, you know.
Oh. Toodaloo!
Hey, there we go. I'm gonna sync the voices up in post. It'll be great.
I thought about it. I thought about it, and I was like, nah, I don't want to step on it. I'll let him do it.
Let's do it. Boys, we're taking this as take 2. And until next time, guys, I'm Basic Guardian, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodaloo!
Toodaloo!
Yeah! There we go. I love it.
I was almost thinking that maybe this could be a Russella or some kind of bolete again, but no, I'm thinking this is the King Sterrezo. The only thing that maybe the Hylian Shroom lacks compared to the King Sterrezo is that it doesn't have a ring.